Hello everyone, this is the first section of our topic, the pharyngeal apparatus. In this section, we'll have an overview of what the pharyngeal arches actually are. We'll see what are the various components of the pharyngeal arch, as in what components actually make a pharyngeal arch, and we'll talk about the muscles of the pharyngeal arches. Let's see what the pharyngeal arches actually are. So, what is the pharyngeal apparatus? So, first of all, to keep that in mind, the embryo is at a developmental stage, so it is not an adult embryo as of yet. These structures are being formed within the pharynx, within the area of the pharynx of the developing embryo. So, the pharyngeal apparatus actually consists of pharyngeal arches. These are arch-like structures which are present in the lateral and the ventral walls of the developing embryo. The pharyngeal arches are 5 in number. They are present in the lateral wall and the floor of the primitive pharynx. Now, what are the pharyngeal pouches? You must remember pouch. P and O are together in pouch, so pouches are present outside. P for pouch, O for outside. So pouches, P and O are present together, so P for pouch, O for outside. So pharyngeal pouches, there are 4 in number. They are present externally between the two arches. So between the two arches externally, that is towards the outside PO of the pouches, we have the pharyngeal pouches. They are lined by the ectoderm. So moving on, we have the pharyngeal clefts. So clefts lie to the inside of the pharyngeal arches. So they're also 4 in number. They are located internally between the two pharyngeal arches and they are lined by endoderm. And the last component is the pharyngeal membrane. It is located between the two adjacent arches. So these are the components of the pharyngeal apparatus. Pharyngeal apparatus consists of a pharyngeal arch, which are actually 5 in number. Then we have pharyngeal pouches, which lie to the outside of the arches. These are actually 4 in number and lined by ectoderm. Then we have pharyngeal clefts, which lie to the inward of the pharyngeal arches. These are 4 in number as well and lined by endoderm. And finally, we have the pharyngeal membrane, which lies between the two pharyngeal arches. So here in the figure, you can see this in green is the ectoderm. This in blue is the endoderm. In red, we have the neural crest cells, and in this somewhat green and yellow color, we have the mesoderm. So these are the pharyngeal arches. Here you can see arch 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6. Fifth is a vestigial arch. It appears and disappears very quickly, so it is not considered. The arches are numbered from 1 to 6 as 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth not being there, a rudimentary arch, so 6. So 5 pharyngeal arches. These are the pharyngeal arches being formed. This outside is the pharyngeal pouch. P for pouch. Pouch has P O. O is a second word, so O for outside. Inside we have pharyngeal clefts or pharyngeal grooves. Inside they are lined by endoderm. Outside they are lined by ectoderm. So pharyngeal arches are actually horseshoe-shaped cylindrical bars in the lateral and the ventral walls of the primitive pharynx. So these are the lateral walls and the ventral walls. For the purpose of understanding, this is the dorsal aspect, this is the ventral aspect. So ventral walls are towards the anterior abdominal wall, and pharyngeal arches are horseshoe-shaped cylindrical bars that lie in the ventral as well as the lateral walls of the developing fetus. And they lie in the area of the primitive pharynx. So what do these pharyngeal arches do? They provide support to the wall of the primitive pharynx laterally as well as ventrally. So what are the components of a pharyngeal arch? So first of all, we have this mesoderm in green. This mesoderm is covered by covered externally by ectoderm, and internally by endoderm. So this in dark green, this line in dark green is the ectoderm, the external covering, and this line in red is the endoderm, the internal covering. Then we have a cartilage. This is the cartilaginous bar or a rod, which is neural crest mesodermal in origin. So it originates from the neural crest mesoderm. Then we have the pharyngeal arch artery. Here you can see this is the pharyngeal arch artery. This artery corresponds to the corresponding horn of the aortic sac. So aortic sac gives off various arteries. Each artery corresponds to the specific pharyngeal arch. So it is corresponding to the specific pharyngeal arch of the aortic sac. So nerve, it also has a nerve component. This is the nerve component which is derived from the hindbrain vesicle. So moving on, what is the fate of these pharyngeal arch components? So the arch mesoderm, this mesoderm in green. So this is the ventral wall, and this is the lateral wall, this is the lateral wall. So this is the arch, this arch mesoderm, it forms the muscles of the head and neck region. So muscles of the head and neck region are formed by the arch mesoderm. So the cartilaginous rod of the arch, this in yellow, this is the cartilaginous rod. It forms the skeletal derivatives of the arch. Now the neural crest cells which have migrated into the arch, they form the mesoderm that forms the skeletal elements and the connective tissue. The neural crest cells, they help in the formation of skeletal and the connective tissue elements. Then we have the arch arteries. So arch arteries, which are actually part of the, which are actually branches of the corresponding aortic sac. They are connected ventrally to the ventral aorta. And the nerve of the arch provides the motor innervation to the muscles and the sensory innervation to the skin and mucosa, which is derived from that arch. So what are the muscles of the pharyngeal arches? We have muscles of the first. So this slide is very important in the sense that it has to be memorized. The muscles of the arches are a very important question, always a part of your written exam or your oral viva. So always remember them. So muscles of the first arch. So this in orange is the first arch. Muscles of the first arch include the muscles of mastication. So mastication is the process of chewing. There are four muscles of mastication: the temporalis, the masseter, the lateral pterygoid, and the medial pterygoid. So four muscles: the temporalis, the masseter, the lateral pterygoid, the medial pterygoid. Four muscles, all of which are derived from the first pharyngeal arch. Then we have the anterior belly of digastric. So digastric muscle has two bellies, the anterior and posterior. The anterior belly is supplied by the first pharyngeal arch. Then we have mylohyoid muscle. Then we have the tensor tympani muscle and tensor palatii. And it also is supplied, these muscles are also supplied by the mandibular nerve. Mandibular nerve is the nerve, or is a branch of trigeminal nerve. Trigeminal nerve is the nerve of the first arch. So moving on, muscles of the second arch, muscles of facial expression, it's a huge list, but zygomaticus major, zygomaticus minor are major muscles involved in facial expression. Then we have the posterior belly of digastric. Now the anterior belly was supplied by the was actually derived from the first pharyngeal arch and supplied by the mandibular nerve. However, the posterior belly of the digastric is derived from second pharyngeal arch and supplied by the facial nerve. And now it also forms a stylohyoid muscle and the stapedius muscle. Now the muscles of third arch. So the only muscle formed by the third arch is stylopharyngeus, and the stylopharyngeus muscle is supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve, which this nerve actually supplies the contents of the adult pharynx. So muscles of the fourth arch. Muscles of the fourth arch include the cricothyroid muscle, the levator veli palatii, and constrictors of the pharynx. So it is supplied by superior laryngeal nerve. Superior laryngeal nerve is a branch of vagus nerve, which is cranial nerve 10. And finally, we have the muscles of sixth arch. The muscles of sixth arch are known as the intrinsic muscles of the larynx. They're supplied by the recurrent branch of laryngeal nerve. Recurrent laryngeal nerve is also a branch of vagus nerve, the 10th cranial nerve. So in the figure, this in orange is the first pharyngeal pouch. In blue, we have the second pharyngeal pouch. So we can see the nerves that are supplying the pharyngeal pouches as well. The first pharyngeal pouch is being supplied by the mandibular branch of the trigeminal nerve. The second by the facial nerve. The third pharyngeal pouch in yellow is supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve, which is the 9th cranial nerve. The fourth pharyngeal pouch in orange is supplied by the vagus nerve, and which branch of the vagus nerve? The superior laryngeal nerve. And the sixth pharyngeal pouch of pharyngeal arch, which is actually red in color, is supplied by the cranial nerve 10, that is vagus nerve. And which branch of vagus nerve? The recurrent laryngeal nerve. So remember this slide, try to memorize it. It's easy, only you have to remember the muscles which are originating from specific arches. These muscles will help you to understand the pharyngeal arches much more easily. So what are the arteries of the pharyngeal arch? So arches, they originate from the aortic sinus and they correspond to the pharyngeal arches. So first pharyngeal arch, here, this is the artery of the first pharyngeal arch. This the only component of the artery of the first pharyngeal arch that remains in the adult is the maxillary artery. So the second aortic arch, the only component, it almost regresses completely, and the only component of the second aortic arch is the hyoid and the stapedial arteries, which remain in the human adult. Now the third aortic arch is very important because it is retained almost completely. It forms the common carotid artery. Here, this is this dark blue region is the common carotid. This green region is the light green region is the common carotid artery, and this is the internal carotid artery. So this is responsible for the production of common internal carotid, and the external carotid artery here in the dark green is also a branch of third arch artery. Now the fourth arch artery, it is retained on the left side as arch of aorta. On the right side it forms the subclavian artery, and the rest of the fourth aortic arch on the right side is obliterated. This in black is obliterated. Now the sixth aortic arch on the right side, it forms the ductus arteriosus. Here, this is the region of the ductus arteriosus which is obliterated after birth, and also it forms a pulmonary artery on the right side. This in light blue and slightly black. So this is the fate of the arteries. These pharyngeal arteries are given off consequently, as in they're not present at the same time. They're only present in accordance with the pharyngeal arch that is being developed at that point in time. So this was all about this section. In this section, we discussed what the various components of pharyngeal apparatus are. We talked about the pharyngeal arches, the pharyngeal pouches, the pharyngeal clefts, and the pharyngeal membranes. Then we saw what were the muscular components of various pharyngeal arches, and then we discussed the blood flow of these pharyngeal arches. I hope you found this section interesting. For further sections, keep watching sqadia.com.